Hey time travelers, this video is for the geek out there, the enthusiast, or the IT professional who wants to learn about how to clone hard drives to solid state drives or solid state drives to faster solid state drives, because sometimes it's just a huge pain and not worth your time to install everything all over again, but you want that faster speed. That's what we're doing in today's video. Check out this comparison where I was running a solid state drive in my laptop and I cloned it to a hard drive, and I'm testing the boot up time on each one. The Samsung 850 Pro is what I've been running in there for a few years, and I grabbed the fastest hard drive I could find, which was a 7200 RPM one, to see if it could keep up at all. And you'll see here in a second, nope. And a blazing 17 seconds comes in the SSD as a true winner. You know, saving my performance and giving me some good, quick openings of apps and all those cool things that come with SSDs. And the other computer is just going crazy with the spinny roundy dots that go on forever. Like, Microsoft, what is up with these stupid spinny roundy dots? Telling me that you're thinking, and then you go away, and I'm like, oh, cool, you're done. Are you done? No, you're not done. It's more freaking spinny roundy dots. At least it's better than Windows 8. Their spinny roundy dots weren't always the same pattern. You got bored out of your skull waiting for the computer to turn on, and you're staring at it like, oh, these patterns are not repetitive. And you almost lose your mind. All right, check out the second comparison. When I upgraded my main daily driver computer from a SATA SSD to an NVMe SSD, and I'm comparing the boot times here. I do have a motherboard that supports the new fandangled PCI Express 4.0, but I'm poor people and I can't afford one of the couple new kinds of SSDs that run on this. So on my screen, you've got the kinds of SSDs that I was trying. Someday I'll get one of those faster ones though. I now am noticing a little bit better performance opening applications and also rendering my YouTube videos. But look how it's like a few seconds faster just to boot up the computer on the NVMe versus the SSD one. This does translate into other performance improvements, like I started to mention about rendering my YouTube videos, and they're like 20 minutes instead of 35. You know, saves me minutes out of hours in my life. Hours in my life that I'm not going to get back. All right, guys. So check this out. In a previous video where I was cloning my SATA SSD to the NVMe one, I went through all these different programs and I was having problems with this, that, or the other thing this one time. Like, I couldn't delete a partition this one time, and this other time the cloning program I was using wasn't working. So I'm going to save you all the time and tell you the solution, the easiest way to do it all. You're going to need up to 4 different things. First thing is, how do you open disk management? Disk management is a utility in Windows. So I like to use Windows button letter R on the keyboard. And then this thing comes up and I type diskmgmt.msc and hit enter. If you're not comfortable with typing all of that, you can just open the start menu and start typing. Don't worry about where you're going to type. It's going to go where it needs to go. And type disk management. And open up the one that says create and format hard disk partitions. And it opens the same thing as you see. Now this is your graphical layout to show you all the different hard drives and which hard drives have which partitions, so you can figure out the source and the destination. So this is a good example right here. This would be a really easy one to clone, which is 2 drives, the main drive and the destination drive, where they're the same size. And let's go ahead and do that right now. So the second tool that you're going to need actually is diskpart. So you hit Windows button R and put CMD. Again, you can just type it in the start menu, CMD, and you're going to want command prompt. See that? My default color is red. Yours will probably be black. And you're going to type diskpart, okay? And this one opens. You actually don't need this one. You can close that. And the third thing that you're going to need is a program to be downloaded called Macrium Reflect. It's what we're actually going to use to clone the drive. You can click the link in the video description to go download it, or you can Google it, or you can travel to the future where your computers already have it installed. But then who installed it? That would be a paradox. And you got to think about causality. Stop trying to be a time traveler and break the universe. No, we're just worried about unbreaking your computer or breaking your computer or no. What am I talking about? Making your computer faster. And the fourth thing that you may possibly need is your Windows installer on a flash drive. That's in case you can't get diskpart to work in Windows. And I'll explain that in a minute. First thing you want to do is in disk management, you want to identify the one with your boot partition. That means the one you're running Windows off of, which for most people is C drive. I got all these letters here, blah, blah, blah. Here's C drive, right? Some people might have custom configurations, whatever. But I located C drive here and it's called disk 3. So if I go to diskpart here and I type list disk, it will show me all the same ones. See? So disk 3 is disk 3. I do not want to touch disk 3 with diskpart because I don't want to break my Windows. Just like I don't want to break time and I don't want to break the universe. But my destination disk is disk 4. So I can double check the numbers are the same. 476 gig, yeah, looks all right. And I type select disk 4. Now check this out. You can list part and it's going to show you the partitions. And it's got 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. And probably the last one is this 1024 tiny bit. I don't know. Yeah, there it is. Offset? Free? What? Whatever, Windows. But check this out. It's just the word clean. C-L-E-A-N. Boop. Unallocated. Sweet. Watch. If I right click this and hit initialize. Initialize disk. Yep. Now we want initialized with no little red thingy, what's it? Saying, no, you can't use this. And you want this to be unallocated. All right, so now the first example of cloning a disk to another disk that is the same size. And I'm going to close Macrium Reflect and reopen it so that we can see it with the refreshed disks. Disk 4? Disk 4. What? No name, no name. And this one says C. So it's just listing the disks with different numbers. So you got to be careful. Now we click the one that's got C on there, right? And you hit clone this disk. And then you click select a disk to clone to. And you got to find the same size disk as disk management was showing us. There's a 476 with unallocated. Where are you, 476? Oh, and there's a tiny little partition here. 16 megabytes. This says 476, and there's nothing. Delete that. Okay, that's cool. Now, what you want to do is dragging this down one at a time. Here's our C drive. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Now I have 11 gigs free, 11.18. Interesting. So I can click this one, which is going to be the C drive. If we double check these numbers to match them up, yeah, that's going to be C drive, C344.55, 344.55. And it's just I'm not doing math with those numbers. I'm just making sure it's the same one. I got 11.18 left. And then cloned partition properties. It's going to change the properties of that specific partition. Partition size. And I want to add 11.18. So I'm going to open up Calculator with a Windows button R and then Calc. Or I can just type Calc in Start menu. Okay. And I'm going to type this size, which it's going to be, which is 464.614 plus 11.18 equals 475.794. So let's try that. Lol, my number lock was off. Derper derper. Tab down and hit OK. That's going to leave me 557.3. I need 559.0 for this one. So let's do this again. Change the free space left to 559.0 and hit OK. That leaves me exactly the right amount of space to put this other partition on here. So you might be asking, what are all these partitions for? I don't know. All of them, but some of them are like recovery partitions and stuff and other like boot partitions and things that help the other partitions do stuff, you need them all for Windows to work. And they all need to be laid out in the same order. That's important, especially these ones that come before your Windows partition. They have to be exact same spots. So just hit next, next, and then finish. Run this back up now. And uncheck this one because you don't need to schedule cloning your hard drive every day or whatever. And hit OK. And you let that run. All right, the reason why you want a Windows installer on a flash drive is if you cannot delete partitions in disk management or diskpart in Windows. I had this trouble while I was trying to clone my solid state drive, and I was getting delirious and loopy. And I was like getting so tired, and I found a solution, and I was recording it, and the camera wasn't right dead on, but I'm still going to show you a little bit of what I did, you know. First thing it is, when you boot up with the flash drive and you get the Windows installer and it says install now, you don't hit that. You hit the little text underneath that that says repair your computer. Then on the next screen, you hit troubleshoot and then advanced options, and then you click to open command prompt. And you get the same command prompt that you do in Windows like we were talking about a minute ago. And then you can run diskpart in there. But you got to be super careful. So what I recommend doing actually before you're in here is while you're in Windows, look at diskpart and look at disk management and compare them so you know which disk is which, and write down the one and all the numbers on each one. Because you've listed the disks, and because the numbers match. Disk number 1, disk number 2, disk number 3, disk number 4. They match between disk management and diskpart. When you know which disk it is, then you reboot with this and you go into the repair your computer, troubleshoot, advanced options, command prompt, diskpart, list disk, find the one, select disk space, and then whatever number it is, hit enter, and then list part. Those are the numbers you're going to compare from when you were in Windows. So you know you're in the same disk. And then you could type the word clean in there. And it has like more privileges to wiping out the disk because it's not using it. So one of the things that can stop you from deleting a partition while running in Windows is that Windows is using that drive. Now let's go over another interesting obstacle that I experienced, which was cloning a bigger SSD over to a smaller one because I was running a 512 and I wanted to clone to a 500. So the first thing you want to do before you get digging into Macrium Reflect and trying to drag your partitions around is you want to do a tiny bit of math. So like in my case, I was cloning from a 512 SSD to a 500 gig SSD. So it's going to be somewhere between 11 and 13 gigs. Why? Because of how Microsoft partitions things and all the math that goes between bits and bytes. I don't understand all that math. I don't care. I don't need to get in that deep into the woods in it. You know what I mean? The first thing you want to do is open up File Explorer. Either you can hit the button combination on your keyboard, Windows button and the letter E to open it up, or you can open up the Start menu and just type the word Explorer. And you want to look for File Explorer, not Internet Explorer. That won't help us in this case. And you got the C drive right there. And it says 113 gigabytes free. There you go. I'm ready to go. If not, you know, I can go in there and delete stuff until I have the amount free that I need free so that when I shrink it, I'm not shrinking past my files because that would be bad. All right, check out this brief clip from when I actually cloned my solid state drive where I figured out in Macrium Reflect how to do the rest of this. So there I'm selecting the disk with no partitions in it, and I drop in the partitions, including the Windows partition, and then I stop. And then you click that one, hit Clone Partition Properties, and you type the free space, which is the same number as the last partition needs, but in this case it was 559.0 megabytes. And look at my laughter. I'm loving it because it fits exactly in there. Okay, the next scenario is cloning your drive to a larger drive, which is actually simpler than cloning it to a smaller drive. Go figure. Just look at this screenshot from the previous example, and we're going to look at the free space box over here on the left and the last partition sizes over here on the right. So we've got all the partitions in there except for the last one, and the one that we're going to click clone partition properties on is the Windows partition, because we want to expand it to make it larger. All you need to do is look at this bottom number of this last partition, the one that comes after the Windows partition, and it says 559.0. Take that and type it in the free space box, and then hit OK. And that'll make it expand and leave just enough space left for your last partition to be dragged down in there. And that's just about it. So thanks for watching this video. As I said earlier, I got delirious trying to figure out how to do this, but I trucked through it and I tried 3 different programs, and this is the one that did it. And by the end, when I was solving the problem, my basement flooded. I heard this big noise, and I ran downstairs and it was flooded. And I dealt with that, and it came back and finished working on my computer. But you can watch that video. The card's up here if you want to click it. Other than that, if you got any comments like about cloning drive experiences, please, I'd love to read it. I totally geek out on that stuff. But other than that, if you want to help out my channel, I'd really appreciate if you can like, subscribe, and comment, whichever ones of those, because they help promote the video and it helps the channel. But other than that, thanks for watching the video. If you want to see some other videos, I've got some up here in the corners for you to click on, whatever you'd like. And if you want to see me on a social networking platform, those are down here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, that's down here. Thanks for watching. Bye.